Tonight we're going to film a little bit of Make Dinner with Me, and we're doing one of my childhood favorites, which is tuna casserole. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is The Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. We're also an allergy family, so a lot of times I'm having to adapt recipes to make sure that they're safe from our family. And this tuna casserole is one of those dishes that I've changed the ingredients a little bit over the years, but is a family favorite. During a kitchen remodel at our old house, we didn't have a stove and an oven for over a year, and we did all of our cooking on a hot plate. And while I was in that transition of not having a kitchen, I learned how to make this in just one pot and not use the oven. I love that this comes together really easily in one pot, and you can have dinner quickly. So since we're not putting this into the oven, but we still want that like panko or breadcrumb crumbles on the very top of it, we're going to actually cook that first in the pan and then set it aside. So I'm just going to take some breadcrumbs or panko, whatever you have, and add some Parmesan cheese and butter and just toast it up a little bit on the stove. For this, I ended up using Italian breadcrumbs. I just used the last of what I had in the jar, which ended up being about a half a cup, and then about a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. You can use less if you want to, but I just browned that in a pan for about 2 minutes until it looks all toasty, and then set it aside. Now, I have forgotten to do this step and just started cooking before, and you can do this in a separate pan if you need to, if you started making the casserole and forgot to make the topping. So in that pan, I'm not even going to wash it. I'm just going to add a little bit more butter into the pan and start cooking down the onions and the celery. I cooked the celery and the onions until they were tender, and then I added the stock into the pan. I use this instead of water because it boosts up the nutrients that you have in your dinner, and it also makes it taste delicious. So I added stock into it and then a cup of milk. So 3 cups of noodles, 2 cups of stock, and 1 cup of milk. And I brought that up to a boil, added the seasoning to the pan, and then I've turned it down to low, put the lid on, and it's gonna cook for 10 minutes. While that was cooking down, I did shred up some cheese, but I just took the lid off of the pot. It's cooked for about 10 minutes. I took the lid off so it can start evaporating some of the water that's in there. And then I'm going to add some cream cheese to that, which will just help make it creamy. I'm going to just let that cream cheese melt in the pot, and then I'm going to add a can of tuna fish in there. I know most recipes do call for 2 cans of tuna fish in your casserole, but Mike does not like tuna fish that much, and so I just put 1 can. And then I have the last of my frozen peas here, which is about a cup. So I was so glad that I had some of these in the freezer that I can add easily to this dish. Everything is mixed in the pot together. I'm going to add the cheese and melt that in, and then we just have to top it with those breadcrumbs, and it's ready to serve. So here is the tuna casserole all done. I did have a little bit extra, quite a bit extra of the Italian breadcrumbs. I was just using what I had left in the jar. So if you're making this, I would probably use a 1/4 cup instead of a 1/2 cup. But I am going to store this in the refrigerator, and it's going to stay fresh just fine, and I can add it to other meals. If you'd like to make this yourself, the written instructions are on our blog, which is linked in the description.